Hello, hello, hello. This is Dehru Mitchell, Connected and Protected out of Mud Productions Incorporated. And today I'm just going how I see things. And to start with saying that things are becoming more and more clear as time passes by. There was a lot of times that I did not pay attention to very much because it was so sorted, deliberately congested, deliberately conflictual. They call it fake news today. They call it so many other things, but facts that came about and started with, yes, and started with they started with conspiracy theories as far as things coming out from behind the scenes. But then when one actually takes a peek, I mean, you're always doing your thing in life, but sooner or later you give yourself a reality check. There's some say you wake up or you come to a point where everything just don't kind of make sense, so you check into it. And then once you start, you can't stop because you find yourself wanting to know exactly how things became the way they are. And is it true that you are in a position of non-personage? You're a nobody. Even if you've been given a position to present yourself as somebody and they have promoted you to be that somebody, you're still nobody. Because when it comes to someone following you and coming up the ladder that you're at the top of in your image or your imagery, when I mean, you may have gained these things on your own skills and your own intelligence and your own academic achievements, and you may have a actual ability to do things that they never had the ability to credit you for or accredit you for because they didn't have it themselves. So in a sense, you were always given a grade, such as from first grade up to your PhD. You were given a grade. You were told, okay, you mastered this, you mastered that. But in reality, a lot of times you were just allowed to have a position because they wanted to put you on Front Street and give you the image of being assimilated to the point where others could follow you and be assimilated too. Like this was a wide open society and everybody could have climbed the ladder and so on and so forth, which was not the case. Very seldom had been. Even those that climbed on other shoulders and lifted themselves up by following a path where once stopped achieving, they had that point where they could pick up that baton and pass it and run with it a little further, get a little further ahead. And they have to be, put in the eyesight of the people because they were probably top of the line. They had the smarts, they invented things, and to give hope to the masses and show that you were included in a sense, even though you weren't. I found that a lot of times when I actually did my own research, I actually listened to some of the people, you know, that were scholars, that were true speakers of truth as to the way things became the way they are, how they were, And these people, they weren't able to tell it to the point where you got the full picture, because it was a kind of like a censor thing then, you know. And even though they spoke very plainly and did say a whole lot, it was up to you to go back and do your own due diligence and, discover for yourself the truth of it, the whole truth of it. And I'm saying that because we were never supposed to educate ourselves enough to see through the smoke screen, pull back the veil, understand that we were being officially indoctrinated into ways of life by control freaks who only wanted to monetize everything, and that would be for their benefit so they could benefit themselves. To put it quite plainly, we were the people whom they found on this land, even though they kind of mixed in a few other ingredients, as they called it, the melting pot. And then they turned things around. They almost made us of no avail to ourselves. Then again, they divided and pitted us against each other. And that was only in the sense that they made it seem as though that was always the way it was. And I kind of, like I said, I had to take looks at things, and the way I saw things wasn't quite making sense to me. So I looked again and again and again in various places. And the things that they portrayed, like on the TV back in the day when I was a kid, you know, I didn't know at the time that cowboys and Indians were all just what would you say, a cast of characters following a script that was written and produced for the imagery to be implanted in your mind, and you to think basically you weren't even there. The $5 Indians were the Indians on the TV, and the Europeans were the cowboys, and they were just um, role playing. But they did do quite a bit that they showed you in your face, but you didn't understand that that was you they were portraying, and it was them that did exactly what they did to those $5 Indians, but it wasn't to the $5 Indians because they bought their way in. It was to the people of the land because that was originally the people who were, um, I'll just say, destroyed. They took them out the box. You know, they regulated them to the lowest part of this society as a labor force. They told all kinds of lies about that because in front, the people that came to this land as slaves were the poor Europeans, the criminals, so on and so forth, who had to come over on the ships, and they paid their way through indentured servitude. Uh, Slavery came about when they found that they could not keep those people, or those people didn't hire on after their servitude was up, and they needed a labor force. Seeing as how they've always prisoners has always been taken during wars, and when they came to this country, they declare war on the people of the land. And those people on the land had no idea to what degree they would be eliminated. So they conceded to certain things, they made treaties, and became subservient to the gun, to the force, and to the deception. And I see this still today because most people don't believe that that occurred. And they actually believe that, you know, you're a people who are impoverished and poor because you lack the skills, ability, motivation, and determination to pick yourself up or to do for yourself when they made it impossible for you to do for yourself because they cut you off at every point and, you know, just claimed everything that you had and controlled it. Now, what I see is that people have come to their senses enough to understand that what makes sense is their own thinking, their own doing, their own ability to actually know, not believe or not think, but know that things are changing. We raised our population back up to being a certain percentage that outgroups any of the other groups on a separate margin. Now, altogether, no, because they have French American, Italian Americans, all of these other Americans that come from other lands, China American, Japan, all of them. And that what makes us as a melanated people in the land, excluding the Africans that came over also, but us as a people, a minority, because all of them together are more numerous than we. But worldwide, we are the people who are the most numerous. And we have come to the point where we understand that we came with this planet in creation. It was ours to take care of, and it would take care of us. And we did a piss poor job when we let them in and didn't allow them to exterminate us because I don't think that the planet would have allowed that to happen, along with just so say our gods. And I said gods because even in every aspect, we're told that we ascend to the very same as we were created by. We ascend back to that. So that means even though we may still be on this physical plane, we can achieve God like status and imagine all that we would like to bring about, and it will occur. I see that today. You know, I see it with the uh, with the fact that they tell us we did all of these things and we were wrong to do them, and we have no place to hide any longer because, as I said, we educated ourselves enough to understand even the backward spellings, the backward way in which we were told things happen that happened totally opposite of that. And to make my sight a little more clearer to you as to what I see, um, just so say I see large groups of people considering nationhood again. Nationhood as though this land contained tribes of people who were originally called nations. We have the Nation of Islam. We have uh, IUIC, that's Israel United in Christ, I believe it is. I, I can't call all of them off verbatim, but there are large groups of people who have decided to set themselves on a course of reunifying themselves together in at least a synergistic mode, which means that they're putting all of their thought energy, their vibrational frequencies in a mode to reestablish a level of frequency that most others can't operate on. And it brings down, just say what they call the matrix, it brings down the systems that run this country. And it's soon going to be pitted against all of those systematic structures that are falling. The banks are going out, government's losing its control. And I mean by losing its control, I mean that other countries are telling the United States militaries to cease and desist from the land. You can excuse yourself and go away peacefully because we now have armament ourselves and we no longer need you. They have decided that even though they were a long time under what was considered dependency on other governments because of the way that they had been duped into believing they couldn't do anything for themselves. And they came in and they gave out money and so on and so forth and fictitiously told these people, look, we're doing this for your benefit. And in every way, it was the total opposite of that. Um, Today's time is very much so changing. The way in which this country is going to undergo changes has been set on a course that is faltering, that's actually depleted. The course itself is depleted. They can't come up with nothing new. They can't do anything new, and everything old is falling out the bottom. From what is it? The monetary system to their trade system. Nobody wants American anymore. They don't have to. They brought enough of themselves into America to have enough of their natural and cultural life in this country not to need America. And since America has taken itself across the waters and other places to bring up other third world countries to, you know, maximize their profits and even debilitate this society more. This society has found, well, we can do things on our own. And I didn't know myself that so many things had been done and are currently kind of stabilizing themselves out so that we can go back to bartering system. We can go back to um, depending on ourselves. We can communally take a little here, take a little there, take a little here, and produce areas where we can go and live and um, have everything that we need to do so. And once these structures fall and things come back to the point where they're in our hands again, there's enough people in this melanated body group to do and perform all the functions necessary to make a functioning society of itself. And I'm going to state that to say, if nothing else, a nation within a nation. And it's a beautiful thing to find. I mean, you really have to open your eyes. You have to understand that surely you are a part of a system that has been perpetrated on you and would love for you to perpetually be in the positions you are in so that it can maintain itself and go on smoothly, so on and so forth. But it fluctuates so wildly because of their demands on themselves, on and their demands on the things that they have propagated. To say that it means the things that they've made to be the way that they are, which they want more and more and more and more out of, which leaves you with less and less and less to do for yourselves with. So much so that they would love for you to just get outrageously crazy so they can come in, squash you, mainly put you in a state of servitude like you're in prison and they can make you do whatever they want you to do. And that's why the prisons are the way they are, because that's exactly what happened when they decided that, hey, they can make the laws. They can do things without the law governing them, but they can enforce that law to govern you in a manner that your mental will not be able to sort it out or overstand it enough to give them any conflict until you have no power. You have no knowledge of the legal sense that they use by themselves against you that they claim to have impunity against. They run all of the illicit trades in this country and then they tell you what you do is illegal. Everything from pedophilia to poisoning of certain natural things like water, food, so on and so forth. And they tell you, oh, no, no, it's figment of your imagination. We're doing everything to benefit you so that you can be productive for us. But they don't care. That's why AI is coming online so tough that they can even tell you, oh, no, you're going to have a job. You're going to have a job. All the time they're laying you off and putting a machine in your place. They're closing out businesses and you have no place to go to work. While they're making artificial foods that, oh, just like in the Matrix when my man said, oh, this, I know the steak isn't real, but it tastes so good. Yeah. And you're getting that and you don't believe it. And far be it for me to try to make you believe it. But just Give it a little longer. Gonna hit you upside the head like a brick, which is coming online too. And I think it's kind of like against America because all these other countries are, they're done with America. And believe it or not, you are basically the face of America because everybody's watching you. And I mean the melanated people of this land. I wonder, I mean, we know it's not really the you that you truly are, but how can you be this you that you are being and you have no knowledge of it? You're going, you're, how do you say it? You're going along with it just by being silent. Just, I don't know. We know you can't be that ignorant after all this time. You know, how long can you be killed before you actually die?
Silence means compliance.
Is that what that is?
Where silence is compliance.
Oh yeah, yeah. Silence is compliance. Thank you. Um, it says all that's necessary is for a good man to do nothing. You know, not even tell your brother. You know, more or less, you ain't got to argue with him. Just tell him. Maybe sooner or later that vibration of perk, that spark of catch or whatever. Because some people are truly, truly set on fire to do these things that they're doing. And I mean, it's spreading. The land is picking it up. The nature is picking it up. And we have that connection with it. That's why I call myself connected. I know sometimes I can project things into being. And when I'm truly in my fullest form, you know, loving the life that I have in me, it has truly been amazing. Some of the things that has occurred that, I know I had something to do with it, but I wouldn't give myself that much credit. And then, shrinking back, it shrank. Um, you know, it's not hard. It's not easy to carry a load by yourself when it's meant for everyone. You know, and it's not easy to forge ahead and be by yourself doing what you have to do, not only for yourself, but for everyone else too. Whether they consider it or not, whether they care or not, whether they know or not. Because when it all comes down to the end, you can't have no more than everybody else that's like you. You know, those few that do, look at what they're going through now. Look at what they've always gone through when they tried to step out, be themselves, and unite with their people in any manner which would benefit them. You know, oh yeah, you can take some money across the water and start an institution over there, but best believe you understand there's some underhanded shenanigans going on that you're not going to find out about probably for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years before it comes above board how below board it was. You know, what the true reason for them allowing that person to do that over there, and what did they actually do? You know, sex trafficking, child trafficking, so on and so forth. Those third world countries had no ability to tell these first world country people what was going on with them because they didn't have the technology or nothing else. Most of the things were going on. They may have even had a little hand in because of their poverty. You know, I've heard, you know, yeah, well, take my kid over there so they can have a better life. Half of them didn't even make it over here. But that's not what the parents understood who loved their children. You know. And truth be told, it goes on right here in this country. You know. You got these you got these adopted children who later on in life tell of the and mental abuse they suffered in no uncertain terms that caused them to be the way they are in life, which is schizophrenic and sometimes pathologic, but usually self damaged, self damaging. You know, well, I can't actually put a whole lot of things just flat out, straight out, but that's the way I see things, and it's coming. It's coming. It's coming ahead, full force. You know, we got people doing things can't be denied. You know, some of them are doing on the basis that the more they receive in, the more they can do, and the more they can give back out. But best believe they're going to stabilize some things, and those points of stabilization will expand out to the populace. It will expand out amongst the people. You know, and all,
Maxine Murphy said, "Hey there, my brother. Happy New Year." Maxine Murphy.
oh hey Max, good to hear from you. Yes indeed.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Um, I mean, I love the fact that we are a people, and we're going to finally realize that we should never have any amount animosity toward each other. All of that was a perpetrated scheme to cause us never to look at ourselves as a people who could be more than what they are and what we were told we were. But we know way better than that now. We have much more the ability to be in the love we came out of and share that love amongst ourselves. We still got quite a bit. We still got quite a bit of people who feel like, okay, you ain't after what I'm after. I got to have it all. But that's never the case. All you get is a bunch of nothing. When you think you got it all to yourself, you get a bunch of nothing. I heard, I have understood it that what is done outside of love detaches you from the God you are. I'm going to put that just like that and let you think about that for the rest of your life if you like. It may be a long one because in thinking like that, you actually find that love within you that makes you the God that you are. And that one is beyond a recompense to all those things you have been and understand you're yet becoming. even generation after generation after generation. So it's not so much as where you began as to where you leave off, so that other begins in a higher position and they take that even higher. So that when you return, not some other, so that when you return, you can take it the next leg up. You can take it to the next level and understand that you are that perfection you're perfecting. It gives no place to anything less. It gives no place to anything less. And I can go into a few other things, but I'm not going to do that today. But I found some real juicy inconsistencies in some things. Like, I'll give you an example. You know, they say Jacob and Esau, how it was turned around, twist this way and twist that way, how he wrestled with God, and, you know. But I found that when Jacob went to meet his brother Esau, Esau had no animosities toward him, even though at the time he was angry enough. He threatened to kill him. When they came together, he hugged his brother's neck and told him, "No, I need nothing from you. I love the fact that I see you, I can embrace you, and we're going to go on our separate ways. I have no animosity towards you." And Jacob's fear is what he wrestled with, and he called it God. I'm not going to deal with that anymore right now. But I will let it suffice to say that in that unboundless love that you have the ability to have, utilize, and engulf yourself and allow everyone else to also have that engulfing because they have it within them also. We must allow these things to spring up like that overflowing well, you know, that cup that overflows, that abundance that, you know, you seem to have when you have nothing. But all those around you that are a part of you. Family, the best of people that seemingly have the same soul types. That's the same soul energy projecting from them that you wish to emit from yourself. You know, even though they may not have it when you meet them, they may not have it when you long time, but y'all gonna come together and find that it's there, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, it's so great to see you. It's so marvelous that you're still, you know, able to be seen." And you know things are going to fall in place. I love that people have told me, "Look, one person in particular, I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going where I'm going, but I ain't leaving you behind." You know, and you know, it's amazing to me that I feel that all of the people that I had these very, very close relationships with has put so much distance between us, even in their knowledge of the relationships that we had, the sharing that we did, and on the for me, it was always the basis of the warmth we shared, the closeness we shared, the protective way we had that involvement with each other that was cherished, on my part at least. I never gave up on any of it. I hold it in my fondest memories, and every time I see those people, hey, it still gives me those same feelings. You know, I wonder about the distance, but I can't give place to anything other than the bond that I made. You know, and I guess they consider it because I still get to be in their presence at times. Um, and comfortably. You know, there's no real animosities or anything like that, even though we parted separate and went separate ways or whatever. But I still, like I said, I still got that knowledge and the memories of what I shared or felt I shared. And it's a beautiful thing. Uh, Overall, I'm still going to say that worldwide, we're projecting energies, and no telling, there ain't no telling how vast they are, what they're being received by, because we know we're elevating them beyond the levels that we know them to be. And I'm sure if we don't know, we can't categorize them or statistify them or none of those things that, you know, they can name, because there are things yet unknown. There may not be anything new under the sun, but there's other distances beyond that sun. I'll let you know that part. And I'm going to say things are coming about, and I see them quite plainly. I see them in the people that I listen to who have done their research, who have projected themselves into the future, for that matter, because they set up things that's going to be productive. In all cases, they haven't already over. I mean, they haven't already produced all they can. So there's future modes, and then there's our progeny that we know is going to be the future. They're coming up from under us. Some are going to take the lead. Some are going to be right by our side until we leave. But to be our best for them, we got to look. We have to see. And we have to tell what we know, even though we don't sometimes want to admit it to ourselves. You know, for me, it hurts to have been as ignorant, as, you know, self-indulgent, for one thing too. Don't let me leave that out. But also to have been subjugated to a lesser position because of all of the manipulative factors, plus someone taking the authority to say we have the authority to be the authority over you. Always been a nonconformist in that area, and all the time didn't know where to look, and the information wasn't as good as it is now. You weren't getting it as freely as you can now, but it's a good thing. It's so good that you can actually see it if you look. You get told little innuendos. You get told little what's another word for an innuendo? You can get even say there are assumptions on other people's parts that you already know something, and maybe you don't. But you can look and see. You can look and see at those people that are making positive moves forward, even those that are close to you that you know came up from the mud. You understand? and they're going leaps about. They're doing leaps and bounds in a having and maintaining a life for themselves. And I mean, they look at you like, oh, you ain't doing nothing. Why? You have every ability. You have every ability that I have. Even if you don't have every talent, you have every ability. All you gotta do is take your time, put one foot in front of the other, and say none of those other things that are supposed to be mattering to you because you were told they should matter, or you have to have this for stature, you have to have this for elegance, you have to have this for you know some acceptability. Man, take care of yourself, meet your own needs, and then you can possibly meet the needs of others until they can meet their needs also. And with that, I'm going to say Happy New Year, and let it begin to be very happy. Yep. And I'll be back. Start this year off